The Diddy trial begins, opening statements and shocking allegations. The trial of Sean Diddy Combs is now officially underway, with opening statements presented and testimony beginning. As expected, the prosecution and defense laid out their cases in starkly contrasting terms. However, the prosecution opened with explosive and graphic allegations designed to seize both the jury's attention and public headlines. Prosecution opens with shocking claims. The prosecution began by describing explicit details from what they referred to as freakoffs, private parties allegedly orchestrated by Diddy. They warned jurors in advance about the graphic nature of the material, a concern that had already been raised during jury selection. One of the most disturbing allegations centered on a claim that Diddy hired an escort and, during one of these encounters, forced the escort to urinate on singer Cassie. Prosecutors allege that both Cassie and the escort were coerced into the act. The intention, it seems, was to draw immediate parallels to the notorious R. Kelly case, portraying Diddy as a similarly dangerous figure, framing Diddy as a violent and jealous partner. The prosecution also painted a picture of Diddy as a jealous and violent man, particularly toward Cassie. They referenced the now infamous videotape that allegedly shows Diddy assaulting her, aiming to preempt the defense's argument that the incident was not about control, but jealousy. This strategy was deliberate, to rebut the defense's anticipated claims and frame Diddy's conduct as part of a broader pattern of abuse. The defense responds, conceding but redirecting. In response, the defense did not deny the existence of domestic violence within the relationship. Instead, they argued that the abuse was mutual and not the issue at hand. They reminded the jury that domestic violence, while serious, is a state crime, and Diddy is not on trial for that in this federal case. By conceding this point early, the defense sought to minimize the impact of the Cassie video and other potentially damning evidence. Their strategy is clear: acknowledge what cannot be refuted and redirect attention to what is actually being charged. Allegations versus lifestyle, where consent comes into question. Much of the prosecution's case seems to hinge on presenting Diddy's lifestyle as abnormal, arguably aiming to unsettle jurors and suggest that such behavior could not have been fully consensual. One key argument revolves around consent in extreme scenarios. For example, the government claims one witness, referred to as Jane Doe, will testify that although she participated in acts with escorts, she was forced to do so without protection and only took drugs to endure the experience. This is where the prosecution seeks to prove coercion, a central requirement in some of the charges. Defense counters, privacy, and racial undertones. The defense, meanwhile, argued that the government has no business prosecuting someone based on consensual conduct, no matter how unconventional. Defense attorney Tony Gargo emphasized that this trial is a targeted attack on a successful black man, pointing to Diddy's numerous black-owned businesses and suggesting that the prosecution is rooted in racial bias and societal condemnation of black success. Three main charges against Diddy. The case centers on three primary charges. Racketeering RICO, usually applied to criminal organizations. This charge is unique in that Diddy is the only person named. Prosecutors argue he ran a criminal enterprise involving trafficking and coercion. Interstate transportation for illegal activity, Mann Act. This charge requires proof of coercion or duress. The defense will likely argue that the participants were willing and consensual partners. Interstate transportation of worker. Unlike the Mann Act, this does not require coercion. The key issue here will be whether those transported qualify as workers under the law. The government is expected to call at least one escort to testify that he was indeed a worker, even as he admits to participating in freakoffs with Diddy and Cassie. The jury and public perception. The seated jury consists of 8 men and 4 women. Notably, the men are evenly split between people of color and white individuals, while all 4 women are women of color. Observers, including commentator Tasha from Brooklyn, have raised concerns about potential biases in jury dynamics, particularly in how narratives about male behavior, domestic violence, and kink may be interpreted differently across gender lines. Another concern is the lack of jury sequestration. With extensive media coverage and social media activity surrounding the case, keeping jurors shielded from outside influence for the duration of this 9-week trial will be a major challenge. Despite strict instructions from the judge, many believe exposure to online commentary is inevitable, raising the risk of a mistrial. Diddy's courtroom demeanor. Throughout the proceedings, Diddy has maintained a composed and spiritual demeanor, frequently seen reading a Bible in the courtroom. All of his children, including his twin daughters and sons, were present in support on the first day of the trial. Whether they will attend daily remains to be seen.